Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl Grace Love, and welcome to another episode of My Safe Place. And I've been busy, busy in a good way, not in a bad way, which is definitely good. I was fortunate enough to be a guest with the lovely Shayna Evans with Structure and Soul, and I participated in my very first TV interview episode is now a part of the Live Podcast Network. So if you're not sure, this is your first time tuning in, welcome. For those who have been here for a while, but maybe aren't up to date on what's going on, no problem. I got you. So we still are available to listen to anywhere that you listen to podcasts, right? We also have our own the Live Podcast Network, yes, is free to download. Okay. So within that, we have certain shows that have elected to go ahead and be on the TV side as well. Right. So there are several shows that are doing both. They're doing the audio and then they're also doing the visual. And you can actually download it on your Roku TV. I have it on my own TV, to be honest. I went and screenshot and sent it to my mom because we've had Roku TVs for 10 years to be exact, right? So you get the app, and then yes, it's free again. You just download a live podcast network, and on your Roku TV, I posted it on my Facebook page, My Safe Place. But to give you an idea who are listening, it has the words in purple with the gray background you might be used to, but it has like this black image of maybe a gentleman and a top hat per se, just to give you an idea. I know you want to make sure you're downloading the right thing. But like I said, I was able to link up with Miss Chanel, and it was definitely dope. It was great. Definitely go on the Live Podcast Network on the Facebook page or Instagram. You can also go to my page. You can also go to her page and see it and like it and go from there, right? And another way, because some people have asked me, like, how do I stay up to date with what's going on, get the latest episodes, like for you or anybody else that I like listening to? Earth Cancer. So you go on the Live Podcast Network.com. You scroll down to this section that says tap in, right? Once you go from there, it's a section where you could put your name and your email address. Go ahead, put your name, email address, and basically you subscribe to the email newsletter that is sent out every so often, every time there's an update, new person, new interviews, new updates about your favorite people, whatever we may have been going on in the works for us personally, the show, and then whatever the network has on it popping, right? So definitely stay in and out. There you go with that. Um, so I've been doing my clips and everything for that. That alone had me busy enough. I'm not gonna lie. So after that, what actually started taking place was actually started getting my energy back, getting my drive back to actually do a lot of the things with the podcast and life in general. And for those that have been following for a while, or even know me personally, I am a fan of saying like the heart is willing, but the body ain't with it. So I would have the desire, like I would have everything planned out, outlined, and all that. And I would go to sit down, and it would be either the internet, or I wasn't feeling so well, or if I was excuse me, y'all, time crunch, trying to figure out how to give enough time to this, give enough time to myself, the kids, the fur babies, and work, right? So things are beginning to line up and link perfectly now. So that having been said, reaching out, networking, doing things, it was interesting because I kept hearing this phrase that I would hear older people say, it takes money to make money, right? And I don't know about you, but I couldn't stand that phrase. There's a long list of phrases that I couldn't stand, and that was right there on top of them. It takes money to make money. And I'm just like, what the heck is that supposed to mean, right? And then I got older and I started wanting things. And that's when I thought, like, oh, I could just go get a job. Like, okay, cool. Which I means I should go get a job. And then from there, it turned out what they actually meant was that even in getting a job, that requires money. You've got to have your resume done, cover letter. You gotta have the internet to be able to send it. You gotta have an email address. Even the things that you think are free, you may not be paying for the internet that you use to do it, but somebody's paying for it. someone in your house, right? And in my house, it's me because I'm the adult, right? So even when it comes to the interviews, you gotta have a certain attire, right? You've got to have the slacks with the right shoes, the button up or the suit. That costs money. Now, thankfully, there are some places and resources, beautiful organizations that donate it for free, but you still got to get there, right? Most of us just go ahead and pay it out of pocket or we ask to borrow it, right? And there was this episode of Dexter, stay with me now, where Dexter character pretends to be someone who needs a quick loan in order to get a job. It's his top job, so he is pretending that he needs like money for a suit and the shirt and the shoes and a haircut and make sure his car is washed and the portfolio and some other stuff, right? And even though he was pretending, everything that he listed out was actual things. Because again, your girl has been an employment specialist and vocational instructor for years. I'll say since 2018, whether I've actually worked in that position and got paid or I have volunteered my services to nonprofit organizations, have always talked about, okay, so you want money to do whatever goal or dream it is. Cool. Let's start off with the basics. Do you have a resume? Yes or no? Cool. We start with a resume. And then after we get everything and we translate all their skills, even if it's someone who's like, yo, I've never worked a day in my life. I don't have a resume. You know how to answer a phone politely? Look at that. You have clerical skills right there. So even transferring some of your everyday skills that you take for granted into actual viable working abilities and skills and requirements. After we got done with that, it was okay. Here's the resume and cover letter. We had to go print that. And sometimes, if you have been in situations like I or my clients, they'll say, "Oh, welcome to the interview. And on your way, they give them instructions, park here, park there." One, if you've ever had an interview where it's like downtown in a city, like it's hustling, bustling here in Baltimore, good old downtown Baltimore will make you rethink parking. It really will. You will start to be like, should I drive or should I have somebody drop me off or take an Uber or Lyft? And I'll be honest, I have taken an Uber or Lyft just to keep from having to deal with the parking because I don't want to come out with a ticket. I went in to get a job. Now I'm about to pay $100 ticket. Let alone, let's go back to I had to print it out. There was a time I did not have a printer in my house, let alone any ink. So I had to go somewhere to go print it out. And depending on what's going on, the library that I usually would use that would let me have like what 10 copies for free. One of the libraries one, they stopped doing that. Two, another library was closed on the days that I needed it. So I went to somewhere like Staples, Office Max, FedEx, UPS, one of those office shops. So I paid money. Now, it may not seem like it's a big deal. I know somebody's like Grace Love ain't that deep. It's just like $5. They said they needed like 3 copies, go ahead and be proactive and think about all the great jobs that you've applied to and how amazing your cover letter and resume are and how it's just going to grab everybody's attention. Well, think about that. If you go on, you know, 3 to 10 interviews in a course of 1 to 2 months, how many different resume copies do you need? They said three, right? You're talking about 30. Copies are anywhere from 20 cents to $1, depending on how many pages, colors or not, or whether it's going to be black and white, and the type of paper. Because, yes, there is a such thing as resume paper. And of course, it costs more because it's thicker, right? And who knows if you want to do a thank you card? There's so many different things that comes into it, right? And so I'm sitting there one day with a client, and I'm like, okay, well, okay, here are our options. We can meet here, we can do the resume, and it gets time to print, and it's like, I don't have the money, Miss Lee. And I was like, okay, no problem. Now, the organization that I was with, we provided, financial assistance when it came to job readiness, right? Like I said, with the clothes, donating of the clothes, maybe helping you get back and forth transportation wise. So we would actually go to an office, maybe like a one-stop center or a job center, and go ahead and print out the copies for them, right? And yes, of course, I was there or my coworkers were there to assist people, but what about people who don't know? So there's that. So just right there, what I just said, what was that like 2 to 5 minutes? All that shows it takes money to make money. I didn't even get into transportation, how long it takes. You got to plan your transportation because we don't want to just be on time. We want to be early. We want to be a minimum of 5 minutes early. And I don't mean like you parked and you are on the side. No, ladies and gentlemen, what I mean is you are sitting down, cool, calm, and collected. No sweat, not a hair curl strand out of place, no lint. And I know it's hard for us with fur babies because Nessie loves jumping up on me and giving me a hug when I have to go do something in public, right? Get the lint roller. I want you to be like the perfect image of excellence, right? So you got to keep yourself time, get out the car, make sure you have everything, make sure you parked correctly, remind yourself of the do's and don'ts. Like, are they going to validate your parking or not? Or did you have to pay it? Because who wants to come out from an interview for a ticket? Like I said, been there, done that, not doing that again. Or the Uber or Lyft. You got to think about traffic. So that's why I say I get there early enough that I'm 5 minutes early, but I have time to go into a bathroom, freshen up if need be, because let's be honest, it's hot and Mother Nature is playing with us. Sit down, put a little breath mint in my mouth, let it dissolve, and just remind myself I got this, and maybe rehearse some of the things that I've been rehearsing, right? So there. Those are the free tips that I've given, right? Using a library, one stop shop. They have job readiness in there. There are people who are vocational educators, job readiness coaches, employment specialists, coordinators. Just basically go in there and listen out for those or say, hey, I need help getting a job from start to finish. And they have classes, workshops on do's and don'ts, what to do. If you need help financially, getting there, clothes, whatever, they align you and match you up with people that best fit you and go from there, right? So I know it's easy. Somebody's gonna be like, oh, it's easy in the city like Baltimore. To an extent, you're right. But most counties, even if, it is a rather rural or country area, they have places. You just might have to travel a bit, or maybe you just need to go online. I know when I lived in the country, we had a printer, computer, fax machine, internet, and I would go to good old YouTube University, would just practice the different skits and stuff that they had. Or you could do virtual workshops too. Those are available, especially at public libraries. That is a perfect place to go. And no matter how country of area you're in, they have libraries. So I say all that to say, take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in on a count of two, breathe out on a count of three, and just ask for help. And sometimes with asking for help, you have to remember you have to wait for someone to give you an answer. It may have taken you no time at all to be like, oh, I need help. Let me raise my hand, make a call. However, sometimes it takes time for people to get back to you with not just an answer, but an answer that will actually help you. And I know for some of us are like, I got this, been there, done that. Let me tell you something. Your girl, me, I just went through this whole having to ask for help, and I was like, I went years with being able to never have to ask for help with assistance or getting a job to all of a sudden being like, hey, can you look at my resume? Can you send me some do's and don'ts? I had to update myself on the very things I was teaching people. And because, like, as time goes, things update. I use AI to help me write my emails better, to sound more professional, to use different words, to have a better tone. I use Grammarly to make sure that everything is correct at bare minimum, make sure I'm not plagiarizing, making sure that I am presenting myself with the best foot forward per se. I am researching deals on where to go get outfits. I am teaching myself how to do not just answer interview questions, but propose questions as well in the interview, because the interview is just as much for you as it is for them. You're interviewing them to make sure that they fit and adapt to your life just as much as they're trying to see if your life and your skills adapt and work for them. Please know that, okay? If that's something new, look, by all means, hit me up on Facebook at My Safe Place or Instagram, Grace Love underscore My Safe Place 1347, or my email, My Safe Place 1347 at Gmail. And hit me up and I can explain it to you. I can give you some of the very videos that I use, or you could just go ahead and go to Google or YouTube. Look, you got the Jack, not the Jack, the Gemini app on your phone and be like, hey, Gemini, please show me tips for interview. And he or she, whichever persona you've given it, will walk you through it. Okay. And you take as much time as you need until you feel comfortable. It's definitely practice, 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 practice. Practice makes perfect. Different jobs require different things, different interviews. It just really depends. So, whatever field that you are looking to go into, whether it's you trying to figure out what education, training, how much it does or does not cost, because in that place, like where I'm at, Baltimore in the DMV, a lot of places have free vocational training or it's almost free. Some jobs will actually pay for it. So it just depends. So it definitely goes back to the closed mouths don't get fed, right? So look, now I had to slap my own self on the hand. Yeah. Oof, I'm laughing now because it wasn't funny before, but I had to learn to be the one to ask questions, to ask for help, to listen to someone literally break it down like I was five and pay attention to each thing that they said because it turned out it was little things that I was just forgetting or little things that I wasn't necessarily aware of because it wasn't that important at the time. Things are different now. Even with vocational training, I know if you're like me and you're completing your bachelor's, depending on what you're doing, you need that bachelor's. Okay, sure. Understood, right? Not going to negate that. However, there are certifications you can take that can move you along. It may not be the exact job or position, let alone the actual pay you want, but it's a step closer to where you were at, So some of these people at the one stop centers, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. And you'd be surprised how they can really assist you and help you get there. A lot of jobs, of course, they want like that degree, that certification, that education, right? But they definitely want that experience. So if you can show that you have the experience, whether working and or volunteer, that is a great help. So many people go into the workforce with the education per se, but without the actual know-how, no training, no on-the-job experience, nothing. And unfortunately, they bomb out because they just were not actually prepared for the line of work that they thought they wanted to do, right? And a lot of times, what you can ask is to shadow. Definitely, when in an interview, ask for day-to-day experience. What does the day-to-day look like? Don't just ask the person who's doing the interview. If you have the ability to have like a panel where you have like a potential coworker, your potential supervisor, or you have the ability to like actually come and do a shadow of the facility or whatever, take advantage of that. A lot of places offer that. And if they don't, nothing beats a failure but a try, right? Go ahead, ask them, look online, You got to open your mouth and ask for help. So, yes, it takes money to make money. However, it takes the willingness to admit you're not aware of everything and you don't know everything. You may know a lot, but you don't know everything. And being willing to be taught and shown and trained. No matter how long you've been doing something and be like, oh, I've been in this industry for like 10, 15 years. Okay. Congratulations. There's always room for growth and improvement. And sometimes what I've learned, like even in my line of work with mental health and social work, I still have training that I got to do to be considered a viable candidate or a good employee. There's trainings that I have to do sometimes either from every 6 months or every year or every 2 year. It just depends on the accreditation. And sometimes you're not considered a potential candidate because unto your knowledge, your your accreditation has expired, especially with 2020. A lot of us, we did not renew our accreditation, our certifications, whatever the case may be, or we may not have been aware, especially if we unfortunately had a lost a job or we transferred or just did something completely different. So again, I highly advise everybody. And no, before you ask, oh, is One Stop a sponsor? Nope, not yet. Let's go ahead and speak it into existence, though. You hear me? State of Maryland, One Stop Centers, I'll let you go. But to be honest, Take time, see what it is that you want to do and why. I am a huge fan and believer that if you pick something that you have a passion about that you love, it will never feel like a job, even on the hard days, and you'll actually go that much harder. But, your girl's about balance. So make sure that you pay attention to the work-life balance within that. And again, like I said, you can hit me up, you can go on YouTube and get a better idea if you don't already, right? But definitely use those free options that you have, no matter how big or how small the area you live in, right? So yeah, it takes money to make money, but we finna get this money and then some. Right? So it's your girl Grace Love. I'm about to get back to work, but y'all stay safe. Good night.